I was planning on seeing Back Rooms, but then I had some plumbing problems, so I couldn't make it. But I'll catch it on video. There's already another movie out that I want to see. I want to see that He-Man. I want to see that He-Man movie, The Masters of the Universe. I don't know. Does Toy Story 5 come out pretty soon? I don't know. There's some stuff coming out that I still want to see. So Back Rooms, sorry to say, is going to have to wait. In the waiting room of old Jeremy's watch list. But this week's top title is Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi, written by two guys. Did they write the Friday? I forgot to check on this. Did they write the Friday the 13th remake? Their names sound very familiar. Damien Swift and Mark Chapman. I don't know what their names were, but they're like a writing team, and I think they did the Friday remake. And speaking of which, we haven't had a Friday the 13th movie since the 2009 remake, and this is gonna blow your mind. Okay, in 3 short years, or 2.5 short years, that movie's gonna be 20 years old, and that's how long it's been. In the 80s, they were spitting one out every month. It seemed like every year there was a Friday the 13th. In modern times, we've been waiting 20 years almost for a new Jason movie. And I know there's a new series coming out on, Peacock. I hope that one lives up to the hype, because, I don't know. I'm jonesing for some new Jason. But that's not what this is. This is Send Help. This is a Sam Raimi joint. It stars Rachel McAdams and a fella named Dylan O'Brien, who I am not familiar with. And basically, I had an idea very similar to this. For years now, I've had this idea. Where it's like, in my version, it's different. But I will say the idea of two adversaries stuck on like a desert island together, and they have to figure out how to survive, has been floating around in my wheelhouse for like at least a decade and a half. And that's what's happening here. We got an office gal named Rachel McAdams, who, played by Rachel McAdams, who's a whiz with the numbers. She works in accounting. And then the new Nepo baby who's put in charge, he comes in after his dad dies and leaves him the company. And, she's been working real hard for this promotion. And she's like, she thinks she's going to get it because she's been told that she's going to get it. But the new guy, of course, he decides to go with his golfing buddy instead, because his male golfing buddy, because that's the way the real world, the real corporate world works. It's not about merit. It's about who you know. And it's always going to be that way, folks. No matter how strong you are and no matter how hard you work to work your way up, nobody's going to know. You're just a number on a screen, okay, to the higher-ups. That's all you are. You're just a number on a screen. So you can work as hard as humanly possible, and you're still not going to get ahead unless you schmooze and you go to lunches and you go, yes, boss, you're great, boss. I love you, boss. Please, let's go golfing together, boss. Or you're a Nepo baby. That's how you get ahead. Look, very rarely does merit come into play. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's the true fact of life. Just like the old 80s television program. So that's what she's dealing with. But she makes a case. She's very assertive about it, and she's very good, by the way. I couldn't believe Rachel McAdams could play this frumpy? I don't know the word for it. Is that offensive? But she's very unappealing at the beginning. She's got like tuna sandwich on her face. She's very just like you can see why she's off-putting on a superficial level, because it doesn't really seem like she's taking care of herself. But anyway, she gets on a plane with this new boss and his golfing buddies, because they gotta go somewhere for a business thing. Excuse me, I get a little snotty in the morning. And what happens is the plane goes down. We get a castaway situation, okay? The plane goes down, and there's only 2 survivors, and guess who it is? It's Rachel and her new boss, okay? And then that's the basic premise. So she's got her boss on the island, and I'm not going to say any more than that other than shenanigans, okay? And we get classic Raimi here. We get a lot of gross out stuff. We get wild animals. There's no like possessed demons or anything, but there's some big swings. Okay, there's some real big swings. That not all of them landed for me. I can tell you, the first half of the movie, I was with it every step of the way. Pretty much, I was enjoying it. I was really looking forward to see where it was going to end up. And then probably about the halfway point, some things start to happen where I start to question, I start to think this isn't working for me. There's something about this that I want all of this to work, but deep inside I could like feel it in my gut that this plot twist, whatever you want to call it, this character twist is not ringing true to me based off of how, I mean, there are sprinkles of foreshadowing and whatnot, so it's not like it's completely out of the blue, but there's some things in this that I just find, why would they be doing this? Like, why is this happening? You know, that sort of thing. But there's still cool twists at work with that. But, like, the biggest swing, to me, felt like it didn't hit it out of the park, so to speak. Yeah. And then, like, the last, the last act, the last conclusion, I felt like it did not go where I thought it would. So I would need another viewing, since I know what happens now, to really just kind of like to see if they pull it off a little smoother than how it felt to me on the first viewing. That said, I still recommend the film. I think Rachel McAdams is fantastic. I think this Dylan O'Brien character is very good. I think Sam Raimi does a great job of flipping well-established genres upside down. I mean, he does a great job. I couldn't figure out what genre this movie was for like the first half of it, which is part of why I was enjoying it. I was like, is this a horror? Is this like a Castaway? Is this a romantic comedy? Like, what is this? He was doing it all, and I was very impressed by the writing for the first half of the film. So I just thought it fumbled the ball after some big swings, but that's okay. I'd rather have big swings than predictability all the time. But I do like my swings to, actually go over the fence to use this analogy. But that said, 3 thumbs up for Send Help, the new Sam Raimi picture that I watched on Disney/Hulu. Rated R from Disney Pictures. I don't know which company it was. Probably Fox. I don't know. But it's one of them. Okay, so this week, for the classic film, I'm flipping through the newspaper from 1986 for this month. I see some heavy hitters. We're talking Ferris Bueller's Day Off sneak preview. We're talking Top Gun. Okay, we're talking Pretty in Pink still up there. I mean, we're talking some big flicks of 86 that are playing. And the one that caught my eye the most this week that I wanted to relive was a little movie called SpaceCamp. And you would think, I'm judging from behind me, you would think I was some sort of big SpaceCamp head. It's actually not the case. I've only seen it like twice in my life. One of them, though, was a little boy. We watched it at the YMCA. I remember this vividly because I remember a bunch of little boys, and girls, little kids, sitting around in the Y Care, they called it. Why care? Why did they call it that? That seems like it's got a negative connotation to it, doesn't it? But here's what we did, okay? They gathered the kids around, and there's some times where we watched some stuff that we probably should not have been watching. I remember this one vividly because I remember the part where they're out in a space station, and the little annoying boy who I'm gonna introduce later. He's trying to save the woman who's stuck out there, and I remember her being incapacitated as well. This is a vivid memory that I have as like probably a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. It's crazy that I can remember this crap, but I do. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Well, actually, it was a turkey sandwich. But I can't remember things that I did yesterday, but I can remember this viewing of SpaceCamp. But I did want to mention that some of the other films that we viewed at the YMCA, another Kate Capshaw classic, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I remember watching that one down there with the guy getting the heart ripped out of his chest. I remember Mac and Me. I remember a viewing of Batman at one point, that Michael Keaton, so that would have been a little later. I remember Big, Okay, and then the part where Josh Baskin he's like he's kind of staring at Elizabeth Perkins's brassiere. A bunch of kids were sitting there downstairs at the YMCA watching that. Can you imagine an elementary school in this day and age? It reminds me of the time that in high school when we were watching Dead Poet Society in like an English class, and the part where they go down to the cave and show the Playboy pinup, the teacher turned on the light and stepped in front of the TV and acted like she was doing something else. And I was like, can't do that. Can't throw that past old Jammy. I know what's going on back there. Jumbos. SpaceCamp. All right. So this movie actually has kind of a negative aura around it because it was released shortly after the Challenger explosion in 1986. You remember the Challenger explosion? Where were you? I'm an 80s kid, mostly come of age in the 90s, but I do remember the 80s. I remember my earliest memory that I can remember is from 1986, the year this came out. Okay, but I don't remember the Challenger. If you thought I was going somewhere else with that, it's not. It was my own personal trauma that I experienced in January of '86. It was a house fire. It was an apartment fire started by one of the neighboring apartments, and we had to scram, and we lost some stuff. And there's still some photos and an album to this day that smell like smoke. So that's gonna haunt me forever. But I remember leaving that. So I do remember that. And I remember starting at the YMCA and saying that I was 4 years old. Me and my twin brother, Jason, were 4 years old. Does anybody care about that? I'm just giving you flavor, okay? This is called character development. This is three-dimensional flavor, okay? So that's all I'm doing here, okay? If you got a problem with it, turn it off. Or hit like and subscribe. And leave a note in the comments. You know, I love to hear from people and nobody ever talks to me. But that's okay. That's okay. I'll respond to anybody. You got something you want to recommend? I'll watch it too, just in case anybody's watching and gets this far. I mean, but please, I'm happy to interact. I know I say that I want like a low view count, but I would like a steady group of followers that can just come in here and converse with old Jammy, and we can have like a little movie club, okay? But I choose everything. I recommend everything, primarily. But you can recommend stuff, and I'll take it under consideration because I'm not selfish, okay? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, SpaceCamp. So the kids go to the SpaceCamp. Okay, that's it's got. I got some notes here, so I want to make sure I mention everything. It's got this little boy in it named. He goes by the name of Leaf in this film, and if you had to guess where this little boy's career was going to go based off his performance in this film, I would have guessed he wouldn't have made it out of the 80s. Because he's so annoying in this. I don't know. He's got like this little raspy kid voice, which is fine on its own. But like when you gotta hear it for 110 minutes, it's like, Andy, come on, Andy. And the way he says Andy like 40,000 times in the movie. And Rudy. That's actually not how he sounds. I can't do an impression of him, but he's got that raspy, come on, Rudy, Andy. Am I doing it right? And then he's got this little robot friend named Jinx, and that's actually the plot device that sets everything in motion. The little robot. So these kids are in the SpaceCamp, run by the head instructor, Kate Capshaw. She's their instructor, and for some reason she thinks it's appropriate to wear a tank top while she's teaching them. I mean, and she doesn't leave like a lot to the imagination. They're darker tops, but you can see that she's got a figure, all right? And she's teaching kids like this, and I think it's inappropriate, and I think that somebody should have complained to Tom Skerritt, the head of the NASA space camp, that one of the instructors was dressed inappropriately to teach children. Even Tate Donovan, the Zach Morris of the group, he even makes like a cat call toward her. I'm not saying that's her fault, by the way. I mean, women can dress however they want, but we do want to think about appropriate attire for the context of what you're actually doing, okay? I'm gonna stop digging this hole, okay? I'm not saying that she can't wear it. I'm saying that it's inappropriate, perhaps, to teach students with, with what's going on down there. Like, imagine if I was doing this video with my top off, that would be completely inappropriate. Have I mentioned that Kelly Preston is in this? Basically, I would watch anything with Kelly. I can't believe she's not with us anymore. That makes me so sad. I feel like she's so young and vibrant and ready to... Miss you, Kelly. Miss you every day. Love Kelly Preston, but I watch anything with Kelly Preston, especially in the 80s. Love her. She's in this. Leah Thompson's in this. There's some great bangers on the radio, some Dire Straits, playing softly. If you're going to pay for these songs, why not feature them a little more prominently? I don't know. If you're just going to have some music playing in the background that nobody can really hear, maybe just use a crappy song. But I wanted to jam to Walk of Life or whatever it's called. Ooh, remember that one? That's playing on the background. Yeah, I wanted to show you something. You see that? That's the actual VHS of SpaceCamp right there. It's I found it at a Goodwill, I think, and this is from Suma Video, I think. You can kind of see the little side graphic. Remember how they used to do that? And then on the back, help me out here. On the back, you got the group there. There's the whole gang. You got the little space outfit there. It's got the description and the little blurbs there. You know how they used to put that on boxes? Little blurbs. That's all right there. SpaceCamp. There it is. And check this. That's the DVD of it right there. It's got the whole gang. Look. You can see Joaquin there in the middle. Leaf, as they called him. He's next to Rudy. That's Rudy. Yeah, thank you for moving your finger there. You got Leah Thompson. You got Kate Capshaw in the back. She's the leader with the perm. You got Tate Donovan. Have you seen the size of his hands? Kelly Preston says. And there's Kelly. There's dear Kelly. Love you. Love you, Kelly. Miss you every day. Is this even a review? I'm just making prop noises now. Whew. All right. So what happened? What else? I got some notes here. Jinx is the robot. He's got this classic 80s robot voice. He's like, friends forever. And he's got a whole scene with another robot voice that's more ominous. And it kind of amazes me what some of these 80s organizations would allow the movies to portray, and I can't believe that NASA allowed the name to be used in this. But what else is what are they gonna use, a fake space name like FASA? I don't know, something fake? No, NASA agreed. They said, well, might as well. Maybe this will get some kids wanting to come to the space camp if they find out that you can negligently accidentally be shot into space by an AI robot who is designed to do whatever any human being tells it to do with absolutely no safeguards for destruction whatsoever. Let's go ahead and let that little guy roam around with a bunch of kids who are ready to get down and do whatever they want the robot to do. Let's do that. Real smart, NASA. I thought these guys were supposed to be rocket scientists. They seem to be that they are negligent and they do not understand the dangers of artificial intelligence. And I think every single one of them should lose their job and be replaced by somebody who could get the job done, like Elon Musk. Let's get SpaceX in there. Am I right? Am I right? No, I'm not right. That's stupid. That's a terrible idea. And this is all Jinx's fault because he hears the little boy say that he wishes he could go into space. And the little boy, played by Leaf Phoenix, also known as Joaquin, is the robot Jinx's best friend, and the robot will do anything to please this little boy, including shooting him up into space, because that's where the little boy say. He overhears the little boy saying that's where he wants to go. So it's got like a classic 80s plot that is just silly, goofy, but boy is it a lot of fun. Another movie, by the way, that I can't believe that the company lent their name to. Remember that movie Perfect? Perfect with John Travolta? The, 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 the Rolling Stone let themselves be portrayed quite terribly, okay? But we're going to get into that probably whenever I review Perfect. But I'm surprised they didn't launch Kate Capshaw into space wearing only that tank top. Instead, she had the spacesuit, but it was zipped down, you know. You could kind of get a little peek in there, okay? She was still trying to sex it up, all right? Kate, I'm telling you, context, right place, right time, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just saying, you know, it's distracting. I don't know. We're all human here. Even, what? Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop digging that hole. You know, the launch scene when they're accidentally launched into space, I know exactly how they felt. Because this past week I was trying to work on my water softener with the robot, with the co-pilot, you know, trying to fix a noise that was coming out of there. And it was telling me to do something, and then I was just describing what was happening with the water softener, and then it comes back to me with like extra huge letters, and it says, turn off the water softener now. You have 10 seconds to comply. You know, it was one of those numbers. And I was panicking. My heart was racing. I was freaking out. There was a countdown going down that said backwash. And it was a little number going down. And there was like a red blinking light. Going, turn it off now. And I was like, I don't know how to turn it off. And he just says, unplug it. Unplug it. So I unplugged the thing. And it's just like, then it still kept going, so I plugged it back in, and it was still in the same spot, and I was just like, oh my God. And then I just let it finish, and everything was fine. But the robot freaked me out. So this is true to life. SpaceCamp is my point, okay? This is real life. This is what happens when you try to put your faith in AI. I don't like AI anymore, okay? I was working with some AI slop early on, if you check my channel. I'm going to keep them up, you know, warts and all. I was playing around with it. I'm not going to lie. I still think it could be a tool that can be used for good, you know. But as a creative tool, even, I think it could have some, like, as long as it's not the sole thing, I think as long as you're using it with intent, like, I don't see it. Brian Eno doesn't see a problem with it. But it's just not there yet, you know, and I had to do some experiments to figure that out. That's all. Mostly it's just slop. And those data centers, am I right? All right. I still use it occasionally, but that's just for my own personal use. Like, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, robots. Don't trust them. Tom Skerritt we're going to finish this up. Tom Skerritt is basically playing the same character that he played in Top Gun, all right? So I think he may have just hopped over from the Top Gun set to this one and just stayed in the same character, because I think he looks exactly the same. He's got the same haircut. He's got the same mustache. He's got the same demeanor. I don't think he had to do anything different other than just show up and record his lines. He probably had like 2 days of work, and he's in the whole thing too, so... Good job, Kevin Weiner, or whoever the director was that I've never heard of. All that said, it's a fun 80s movie, you know? Tries to make space travel cool. You know, it fails to make it look cool, but these are fun characters, you know? It's got little predictable little character dilemmas, you know, like Leah Thompson trying to control the thing that's flipping her around. You got Kelly Preston in there. Have I mentioned her? Ooh, Kelly, come back to me. Come back to me. Forget John. Come to me. Emily likes you too, so she said it would be okay if we went on a ghost date with the coffee and whatnot. We could all get together and have a ghost date with Kelly Preston. Miss you, Kelly. Miss you every day. So yeah, it's a fun. It's whimsical. It's got a John Williams score. I really was feeling the climactic sequence. Like, I was into it. It's something about getting back from space. Or something about climactic sequences in space I just love, you know, like even 2010, the sequel to 2001, I felt was very exciting because of what it did. Am I going too long? You know what? This is for me. This is for Jeremy. This isn't for you. So, but if you want to like and subscribe, please go ahead. Why were they talking in... This is the last thing I'm going to say, all right? Why were they talking in slow motion? I'm genuinely ignorant on this. So why were they talking in slow motion when they were in the spacesuits? I was curious. Is that... I don't remember that being the case in other space movies. Usually they sound like... The pod bays are opening, Hal. We're trying to... You know, like that. And this one they're like... Andy, I'm coming. Okay, Rudy. Forever. 3 thumbs and a heart for childhood favorite SpaceCamp, excuse me. Right over there. I already threw the boxes away. I also watched a TV movie called One of My Wives is Missing. The most plot twist heavy. It's from 1970 something. Jack Klugman and James Franciscus, some sort of Robert Redford great value guy, as the internet would say. It's fine. It's about a guy whose wife is missing, one of them anyway, and then these characters start coming in and trying to gaslight him into thinking he's married to somebody else. It's a weird little movie, but it's just one of those TV movies from the 70s that's designed to keep you glued to the screen, and it kind of did, and it was fine. I don't know what to rate it, because I couldn't. I mean, if you ever see it somewhere, go ahead and watch it. It's not going to kill you. Looks like it was shot in the Brady Bunch house. And what else? Vacation. I watched Vacation. Remember that one, National Lampoon's Vacation? Got that one over there too. Hold on a second. There's Vacation. It's got Chevy Chase there, looking all ripped and steroided up with a little tennis racket. And they got Beverly D'Angelo. That's pretty much... Is that Beverly? Yeah, Beverly's there, and then I think that's Claudia Schiffer over there. I don't know. But Beverly D'Angelo... Speaking of little motor scooters, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm sorry, but seriously, her and Kelly, man, they could get some motors running back in the day. I normally, hold it please. I normally don't like the greatest hits up there, that little banner up there on my videos, but in this particular case, I made an exception because you know. I wanted it on my shelf. What can I say? Vacation. Not going to get into the plot. Recap. Everybody's seen it. Funny movie. Good movie. And there it is again. All right? I'm running short on time. All right? There's the Blu-ray. I also watched a documentary on He-Man called The Power of Grayskill, and the Michael Jackson The Verdict documentary on Netflix, which proves once again that Michael Jackson had 2 different personas, okay? He had the pop superstar sensation who made the great music, and then he had the sociopathic monster who was able to incorporate everything he did in his art into procuring little friends, all right? And terrible what he did, all right? And I believe that he did it, okay? I think there's just too much evidence. I can't figure out why there's more evidence that this grown man had slept in more beds with more boys than any grown consenting adult. I've never heard of him sleeping with any consenting adult, okay? But plenty of evidence that he slept with Kevin McAllister and all the other little boys that used to come over to his house. Very strange. And you're going to say, oh, well, he was childlike. He didn't have a child. That's always the narrative. He didn't have a childhood, okay? And that's why he acted like that. Yeah, he didn't have a childhood and he was childlike. I get it. Okay. And he thought he was a kid and he played with kids, okay? And he felt comfortable around them, like sleepovers and stuff. Innocent little sleepovers, okay? And why's he got a briefcase full of adult videos next to his bed, okay? It's not very childlike. What child do you know that does that, okay? Think about it, people. God. But, Jeremy spoken. Godspeed. Peace and love. Got my shirt off and I'm sweating to death. I don't know. It gets really hot down here when I record. I think it's all the bright lights. I'm just glad my hair's not wet from sweat like Hulk Hogan. Okay? See you next time. Sorry I was so hyper this week. I'll try to tone it down next week. Doodles! Friends for